All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are not dead yet. I'll be honest with you guys. If they had won last night, this show might be referencing the B word with the New York Mets. But almost thankfully, they lost last night, so I don't have spit any more nonsense out of my mouth about this team that I'll look back regretfully at. So they are not dead yet. And thankfully they are, and getting us through all these dark times are our Coors Lights, because I'm telling you, man, this has been one of the wackiest seasons I can remember, and that's saying something as a Mets fan. This week we have Clemer, Kyle, Clem, three of us coming at you, and we all are drinking our Coors Lights to go through the ups and downs because it's the most roller coaster season I can imagine. The biggest dips and peaks and valleys, I guess you could say. So we got to believe it's presented by Coors Light. When you're juggling work, family, and the busyness of summer in general, it's easy to feel the pressure, but that doesn't mean we have to lose our chill. And let's just be honest, any chill you might have when your team loses a baseball game, let alone like 6, 7, 8, you have no chill. I can tell I'm grumpier with my kids. I'm worse at work. I'm worse in life. However, Coors Light helps me chill. When the mountain turns blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light, it's cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So New York, choose chill, choose Coors Light, proud partner of the New York Mets. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right. Mr. Clemer, step into the therapist chair, my friend. How are we dealing with this team? The dark times were here. They returned, and we have a little bit of light, but those scars don't go away in a couple days. How are we feeling about this baseball season right now, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great answer. This is, if you look at the Mets, we don't make the playoffs a ton, right? We're not the Yankees. We don't make the playoffs every year. There haven't been too many years that I can remember, if any, that we're in a playoff hunt. We have a 1-game lead in the wild card, which I know isn't where we were. We're just in a vacuum. Let's look at that. Mm-hmm. We have a 1-game lead. It's middle of August. We're in a playoff hunt, and I feel miserable. You feel miserable. I know you do. Like I was talking to Kevin yesterday. We all feel. None of us feel good about it. I know Meek Phil doesn't feel good. Like, none of us feel good about this. And how often can we say that as Mets fans? Usually it's like, oh my God, we're scratching and clawing for everything we get. We're not dead yet. You're right, Clem. We're not dead yet. But there's not much. There's also the potential reality, that we could end this season and not make the playoffs, which is very real. Reds are 1 game behind us. We're playing like shit. We have 9 home games in the entire month of September. It's a very real chance we don't make the playoffs. That is almost unfathomable. And I don't know how that's going to sync with us. If we don't make the playoffs, how do we rationalize that in November? How do we sit with ourselves in January? And that's what I'm trying to come to grips with. I'm trying to enjoy every day. I feel like someone who's been given a very grave medical diagnosis. And it's all right, you might not die, but it's not looking good, but appreciate your stuff and get your affairs in order. And that's kind of what I'm doing. It's not good.
That's pretty fair, Clemer. That's a pretty fair take on where we've been, where we're going. The fact, it's such a asshole Northeastern thing to say. I wouldn't even put New Yorkers in it, but it's you guys are making me care about the Cincinnati Reds in the middle of August right now. That's kind of the stuff that I hear a lot of Mets fans saying. And I'm it's like you said, how are we going to feel about it? And then it's going to go, how's Uncle Stevie going to feel about it when he goes, hey, fans, show up to the ballpark. We're showing up on the field. We showed up and you guys aren't playing until October. I've been kind of trying to plan out by fall, and it's I have to make sure I'm around in October in case there's a big game we have to do on the electric chair, potentially, right? And the fact that might not happen is almost unfathomable after the way the season started, the way last season ended. Again, going into this year, I did not think that would definitely carry over. But you give us 2 months of, sunshine and rainbows, and then you have the dark days. I thought the dark days were done with this franchise, but man, those 2 losing stretches, that was, we're bringing up 2012 seasons, they're talking about some of the dark days were the early Citi Field days, with some of the stats that they had. Kyle, how are you feeling after, again, the dark times, but we had a little bit of a bounce back against the Nets so far in the Mariners.
I mean, in the most recent games, it's the potential of this is what the offense should have been doing the whole time. And like just seeing it and knowing it's possible, it gives you a little bit of hope. But at the same time, it's like the team and the fan base are in the same boat, right? It's like anywhere you go, there you are. I don't even see us like competing against other teams. It's, are we going to lose this game? Because I look at the Reds, I look at the other teams that are in the wild card hunt. I think that we're a better team than they are. But then when the team shows up day after day, you don't know what you're going to get. And that's the hardest thing to wrap your head around is that
I don't know if we are better than them, honestly.
No, we're better.
Are we better than the Padres? Are we better than the Cubs?
We are not better than the Padres. The Padres are the rock to our paper.
They can be terrible and we're still not going to, it's not going to be comfortable to play the Padres. But when everybody is cooking and they can score 8 runs, I do think that we are better than most when it comes to – there's 3 teams that make the wild card. You're telling me we're not one of those 3 teams?
I don't know. The Reds are pretty good. The Reds just got Hunter Green back. Hunter Green led the National League in WAR, pitching WAR last year. Hunter Green is an ace. We don't have an ace. David Peterson is a nice pitcher, and he's a perfect number 2. We don't have an ace. The Reds.
David Peterson's throwing more innings than most. It's not even just a Mets thing. It's just a baseball thing that he's going deep into the games. At least you have someone you can rely on. It's just there's the question marks if they pan out. And I said this about the young bats too. I don't care how they performed up until this point. If they turn around and they're hot for 2 months and they get us to where we need to go, that's all anyone's going to remember. So Senga needs to get it figured out. Manaea needs to get it figured out. We need to bring up some of these young guys, which we're going to touch on Nolan McLean. I don't know if they're all going to hit, but I need to see Stearns and Mendoza at least pushing those buttons to make it seem like they're trying to do something new, because what's happening right now, you can't rely on the bats night after night, but when they're good, they're good. So you need to make sure that you have pitching to back it up.
There is one positive thing I do want to mention. So we had the day off on Monday.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, Peterson, like you said, Kyle, like he went 8 innings. And so, the only guy we used was Stanek in that game. So basically the bullpen got 2 full days off.
Yep.
And that is huge for so many reasons, not just to rest their arms, but it allowed everyone to kind of reset and be put in their proper roles. We saw that last night. And the bullpen actually pitched pretty well last night. Now we have actually, instead of a team scrambling and, always trying to, fix a flood with, duct tape, now we can just, chill the fuck out for a second and be like, all right, let's get everyone in their proper roles, everyone in their proper assignments, everyone's rested, everyone's good to go. And you can kind of have that pitching reset, which I think was so important. And I think that's going to help us in the next 2 weeks here. So that's a positive. That's about it for positives for me.
we don't have a ton in the big league squad. We'll go to the prospect talk later on that, feels like the future is coming. Clemer, since, you reference Hunter Green, and I clearly don't know enough about him. I know stuff from fantasy and just, whatever you see on highlights here and there. Give me your overall Reds thoughts, because they're going to be the team we're going to be obsessed about unless the Phillies start losing or we can go head-to-head and start beating them. I think we're going to have to start being the Reds are the real enemy here. Even Phil, I feel like, didn't have much of a scouting report for us when we asked for the Reds. But, Phil is Mr. fucking Jersey Shore now. He's the king of the Jersey Shore.
Right. That's right.
The Mets have driven him to drink 8 green tea shots at one time. He's a crazy man now.
Yeah, the Reds, we haven't played the Reds. Right? No, we did play the Reds earlier. I know we play them again in 2 weeks. It's going to be a monster series. Imagine how big that. I think it's the weekend of NFL week 1. So whatever, that weekend after Labor Day. So that weekend is going to be if you're a Mets and football fan, just don't leave the couch,
Or if you're a Giants, Jets, and Mets fan, Giants, Jets, and Mets, it could be bad. These things usually go hand in hand. I've learned through time.
Yeah, I mean, everything's bad. Always. The Reds have Ellie De La Cruz, obviously probably their most famous player. He's very good. He hasn't broken into that great territory yet, but that is just untapped potential with him. He's so good. At any point in time, he could go off and have a 5-homer week, and you wouldn't be well, that's that crazy. That's possible. Anything's possible with him. He's still so young and still so talented. They're just a solid team. Terry Francona is the manager now. And in my opinion, he's a Hall of Fame manager. I think he's just one of the greatest managers I've ever seen in my entire life. You look what he did, obviously, with the Red Sox, winning 2 World Series there, goes to the Guardians, brings them to a World Series. I can't say enough good things about Terry Francona. I was living in New England when he was managing the Red Sox, and like he just made all the right moves. Like he's such a smart guy. So him being in there is going to help. And then like I mentioned, like Hunter Green. The other guy is Andrew Abbott, who's having a sensational year. Like the Reds starting rotation, it may not be names you guys like the average baseball fan might know because the Reds aren't like a marquee name. But like the Reds pitching staff has like outperformed us by a mile. I mean, yeah, we have Sean Manaea, we have Kodai Senga, but right now, like I can't trust those guys at all. I don't trust them at all. I don't like Senga last night. That national team is the Walking Dead. There's zombies out there. They are playing out the string. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about anything. And they still were able to knock Senga around because he's nibbling again. Like I don't trust Senga at all right now. And it's crazy to say that when he was Bob Gibson the first half of the season. So I don't. The Reds are not. They're not like. Are they the greatest team of all time? No. But are they like a worthy competitor right now to where we are? I mean, if I'm the Reds, I'm looking at us. When we go 4-24. If you take away that 7-game winning streak over a stretch, and even if you count that or whatever, that's like 11-24. I'm looking at like this Mets team. They're not going to keep you up at night.
And Reds fans are probably like, LOL Mets. They'll do stupid Mets shit when it counts in September. The Marlins will kick our teeth in the last series, and we're back holding our dicks again. I think that's fair, and I think the Reds should just be taken seriously. That's kind of what I'm saying. I do think the paper and what a lot of people are saying in the chat, Kyle, you said it too, like it feels like we are better than the Reds, but man, this team has been so fucking frustrating, and it's like I just need guys to answer the bell. I need Sean Manaea to answer the bell today. The reason he got that contract is games like today. I think this was last week, I said, like, let's let our gripes out. Clemer, if you have anyone you want to gripe about, if you want a player, you can gripe. I'm going to just put mine in. I'm going to piggyback off yours because I want to do this. I think I'm done with Senga. I think I'm done. I know he was awesome first half of the season. For what I thought he was going to be here, I don't think he's higher than a 3 at this point, like his ceiling. Oh. Do you think it's like the injuries are a part of it?
Yeah.
And it's like if they don't swing at the ghost fork, which granted is a deadly pitch, he just looks lost if the fork isn't working for him.
Let me pull up Senga's stats. So Senga has a lifetime ERA of 2.75.
Yes.
And that's over the course of maybe it's a little higher now. Baseball Reference hasn't updated today. I haven't updated in like 2 days. I know what's going on. Baseball Reference is killing me right now.
No, Baseball Reference, we're losing Baseball Reference.
Baseball Reference hasn't updated in 2 days. And you can probably see the bags on my eyes. Like I'm a mess.
You know why?
I'm shambles here. Like my lifeline is. I'm really having a tough time adjusting here. But going into yesterday's game, is a 2.75 ERA. I think yesterday was his 50th start. If you're out on Senga because he gets hurt all the time, okay, look, I can't really argue that he gets hurt all the time. But if you're out on Senga because of his stuff, I got kind of a bone to pick with that. Like he is a. Look, is he an ace, the ace that we know, like Madison Bumgarner, that we grew up with? Like for me, like Pedro Martinez, like, or even Roger Clemens. He's like this horse that would go out there and just like pitch and pitch. No, he's not that. But is he like a perfect number 2? Yeah, he's still a really good pitcher. Like I really believe in Senga. Since he's come back from his injury, it's been bad. He nibbles. He obviously doesn't trust his stuff. Like completely agree, Clem. But like long term, I still believe in Senga.
That's fair. I mean, what I thought he was, where he was going to be, I don't think we have an ace. And I thought he was going to be our ace. He pitched like an ace, like you said, in the first half before he got hurt. And, the injury wasn't his fault, even though it seems like he has faulty legs, which is a bad thing. And maybe it's like a little bit of like a unfair bias, but it's like a lot of times the Asian pitchers need the extra day. And it's like, sometimes you just want a horse out there. And it's like, I know this guy will be able to like, just stop the bleeding when we need it to stop. And last night, it's like, you can't do that against the Nats, dude. You do that against the Phillies, I live with it. You can't do that against the Nats, the Walking Dead, like you said. So I don't want to say I'm like out on Senga. I like him. I just think at this point, like I guess Peterson has probably passed it in my mind as a guy. It's like I know he'll come out, and he had a hiccup the other day too. He's not perfect by any means, but that's a guy. It's like he's the only guy pitching into the 6th, let alone 7th inning most of the time on this team. It's fucking correct. Kyle, it's only had Twitter now.
The Mets have only had a pitcher pitch into the 8th inning 5 times this year, and they're all David Peterson. Like he is carrying this team. You want to talk about a bullpen that's taxed? Could you imagine where we'd be if he wasn't? We have 34 games this season where we've pitched 6 innings for a pitcher. That is insane. And I pulled it up from last year. The final count, I think, was 74 games out of 162. We're at 34. That is crazy.
That is a giant drop.
As far as Senga goes, his ERA is misleading, in my opinion, because he's only throwing 4 or 5 innings. and then they pull him. And yes, he only lets up a run or two, but it's like, I'd rather in certain instances you pitch 6 or 7 innings and let up 3 runs. Like, and a little bit of that has to do with Mendoza, because there's situations where he's just pulling pitchers when anyone gets on base at 90 pitches. Why? You know that's our biggest downfall is that we need to stretch out the bullpen every single game. Why are you pulling guys just because they get into a little bit of trouble? I don't agree with it at all. He's an old school type of guy, except when it comes to that. Then he's I only trust David Peterson kind of guy. It was that way last year too. It was Peterson and Severino. Yeah. Everybody else had the shortest leash. I don't understand it. And for Senga, his stuff is good. When he can't locate, then he relies too much on the ghost fork because for whatever reason, the guy throws like 98 miles an hour, but it's flat and they hit it. So when he's nibbling and then he feels like he's behind and he has to throw that fastball, they're just sitting on it. Because what else are you going to do? You're not going to swing at the pitch that he gets everybody out on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's once he regains control, and I do think it has a little bit to do with the injury. He's rusty. Maybe he's your 3, but I don't put him any higher than that. I think Manaea needs to be like the X factor guy that figures it out and helps out David Peterson. And then you hope that some of these young guys can help too.
But Manaea's been bad this year.
I totally agree. Completely agree. His arm slot is where it was, but for whatever reason, he's not having the same results.
So Manaea's been back since the 13th of July. That's when he came back now. So we're dealing with he's been back for 2 months at this point, right?
A month.
Well, yeah, a month, and then he's going from there. And then Senga came back on July 11th as well. So they came back around the same time, and they've been scuffling since. Senga's ERA both months, 5.2, 5.2, 5.21, 5.25. Yeah. Manaea, 2.08 in July, 7.98 in August. So, I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? At some points, like the performance, whether it's injury-related, rust, whatever it may be, these guys just are not going out and doing it. And then it comes back to Stearns, where it's like, was there like we went through this last week, so I won't bring it up again. But like, I don't think there was any other pitching options out there, right? It's like Garrett Crochet, trade a Hall for him, and he could have gotten hurt. You know, it's like
there were pitching options. Jose Quintana was sitting there. He was sitting there.
Quintana,
Jose Quintana. They could have had Jose Quintana. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is a.
We triggered Clemer. I'm happy I walked into that. Nice. Let me hear Clemer.
And I'm not trying to bury Stearns because Stearns has done a really good job. Everyone makes mistakes. I didn't want them to sign Luis Severino 2 years ago. They did, and he was awesome. So I'm not perfect. So I'm not trying to like throw rocks in a glass house. But this is the fucking problem here. So you went out and you got Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, you know that this guy's never thrown more than 70 innings in a season. So he's got to be fragile. You got to be careful with him. Fine, they've been careful with him, and he's been okay. But you got to be careful with him. But you put him in a rotation with Kodai Senga, who's thrown 270 innings. We've had him for 3 years. Okay, so he's averaging 90 innings a season with us. Okay, so you got to be fragile with him. So now we have 2 fucking little China bulls in our pitching staff, and instead of going to get Jose Quintana, who look, is he going to be a Cy Young winner? No. But can he go out there and give you innings? Yes. He's dependable. He's a guy that you can trust to go out there and at least give you those 6 innings every time out. You go and get Frankie Montas, who, guess what, is a China bull. Not only a China bull, but one that has a big crack in it, right? Because he's already fallen off the shelf 5 times. So you have now 3 fragile pitchers in this rotation. I know they trusted Manaea, and it hasn't worked out this year. But you can't do that. That's the problem. And that's been the problem with this team. And that's why this whole team fell apart when Griffin Canning got hurt. Griffin Canning got hurt, blew out his Achilles, and he was the only guy out there giving you innings besides Peterson. And when that happened, the whole house of cards fell, and that's all on Stearns. And they could have went and got Mitch Keller to trade deadline. They didn't do it, and that's why we are where we are. Now that's Stearns is not perfect. I'm not perfect, but that's why this team is where it is.
Clemer, I like that. I like the fire. You referenced some fair stuff, the China doll stuff, and I think that's part of my problem with Senga. It's like you have to baby him and you live with it, but then it's your baby and the other 2, and the bullpen's already being taxed as is because everyone not named David Peterson's not going deep, and then that's how you end up with this. We used to do a thing on the show where I'd say, all right, guys, we have 8 games in 8 days coming up. Let's reserve our judgment on the bullpen because they're about to get their asses kicked here. And it's just been like that every day now because then the other guys that we were relying on, such as Manaea, got hurt. So then that put us in, and we have Tyler McGill going out, throwing his signature four innings. I can't even think like how many Clay Holmes, 3 2/3. So I do think the roster construction is definitely a big part of it. If you wanted to go Quintana over Holmes, I think we all thought by now.
Quintana over Montas.
Yeah, Quintana over Montas.
That's my thing. You can have Holmes and you can have Senga, but if you do, then you got to have 3 horses. You have to.
Yeah, I never wanted Montas. I think they just chose age over what potentially Quintana could do. That's the only thing I could think was Stern's reasoning for it, is that you go, Montas is younger than Quintana. Quintana had a great season for us last year. Like, what are the odds he's going to do it again? And to his credit, he is doing it again, and we could have used it. But at the same time, last year's mentality with that team was so-and-so went out and threw 6 innings. So now tomorrow I'm going to go out and try to throw 7 innings. And I'm going to go out and try to throw 8 innings. And it was always them competing with each other. Whereas this year, you get to the 4th inning and start letting up runs, and they're peeking in the dugout going, when are you coming to get me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's get the bullpen up. Let's get everybody going. When are you coming to get me? Because I feel like I don't have it. And that is not the mentality of a winning team. And that's why we haven't been winning. And unless somebody besides David Peterson steps up, we're not going to be winning.
How do you fix it, though? Like, that's the thing.
You bring up the young guys who revitalize them and go, I was just down in AAA and I'm hungry. Let me go out there and take the ball every 5th day, and I'll throw fucking 6 innings or my arm will fall off.
I hope so.
And that's it.
Because the free agent market for starting pitchers next year isn't the best. And
we have a lot of – this is like, I think in Stern's mind, this is the coming to fruition of like, we're not getting rid of many of the prospects.
The turning point now. We're at the
If you're going to rely so much on the farm and being like, we're going to build this thing, it's kind of like college football where it's like you give your coach 3 years to build around it, and then you go, now's your chance to like take off. I think that's what's coming down the pike.
Okay, that's fair. And also, I just wanted to add this. I don't think we said it last podcast, and I don't know if the numbers bear this out, but it just feels like it. When this team falls behind, it feels like they're not going to come back. They could have offensive outbursts, but like last night, it was 5-1, 5-4, and I said, 2024, this is a win. In 2025, this is a loss. That's just the way it feels, and and then you see the guys, and listen, we had the top of the lineup go cold at the wrong time, and then the bottom of the lineup was cold to start the season, and it just never seemed to just all click together. So I can't even blame any one particular person or even group. At some point, like, you just need to start having rallies, coming through, finishing, and if the bullpen is going to keep blowing it, they keep blowing it. But you would think with the reinforcements after the deadline, we should be fine, other than Helsley, who's been – I'll tell you, we had shirts planned. Hells, bells, trumpets, books. That shirt, it's going to have to be an October run for that shirt to get released at this point with Helsley.
Let's say I have a question for you guys, real quick. Let's say we go 84-78. We missed the playoffs, which is we're gonna have September schedule. If you want some nightmares, it's tough. It's really hard. It's really scary. Do you fire Mendoza? I don't think I do, but I don't know what you guys feel.
No,
I don't think so. I think you give him one more year.
I agree. I don't hate
fired Buck after 2 years, and he was manager of the year. You
can't
do that every couple of years. You have no clubhouse culture at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. You have to give him the shot. And
I think
like
so too.
That the Buck thing was like a clean break from a new era, whereas this would be,
And he got a raw deal, by the way.
He got a raw deal.
There's often times where I go, I don't know if Buck would have handled it that same way. We might have come out on top.
Since we're licking our wounds, we'll just finish the negative beginning of the podcast. Francisco Alvarez. I said this the other day. The baseball gods, all they do to entertain themselves is they befall the Mets with comical misfortunes. To give us a good catcher finally, that's 21, number 1 prospect in baseball, hits bombs, and to give that catcher bad hands of all things. It's like the Achilles. He has bad hands. Is one of I tip my cap to the baseball gods for doing such a good job of fucking us in such a evilly cosmic way. To like, at this point, you have to just like, I imagine it's not a good thing. You can fracture your ankle. He has to start sliding feet first. Like he's just gonna have to learn how to do that, right? He's gonna have to do the who's like a quarterback that had to learn how to slide the right way. There's a few guys who have been like that over the years, like Jaden Daniels, right? He needs to start sliding feet first because we can't lose a guy. He is the X factor when guys are kind of we have a guy who can hit like that. It changes everything, especially when we can play defense. So Alvarez, guy, do you guys have anything on Alvarez? What do you think about Alvarez, Clemer?
Well, I mean, Alvarez losing him is terrible. He just, of course, right when he starts to hit too. the baseball gods like really fucking with us. So my whole thing is, all right, so what now? So we have Torrens and Hayden Senger. So here's something to keep an eye on if you're a Mets fan. The last day you can have a player on your roster to make the playoffs is August 31st, right? So if you have a guy on your roster in your organization on August 31st, he can play in the postseason. September 1st, he cannot. So what you're going to see is certain teams, like I know like the Rangers might be this team. Some other teams might push through a bunch of players on waivers. So this happened with the Angels a couple years ago. If you guys remember, they put a bunch of guys through waivers with the hopes they're not getting any return back just to dump these salaries because it might affect how you fall with the luxury tax. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different, like also just to save money for your owner. You're not going anywhere. You want to play players. You want to just clean your roster out. So one thing to keep an eye on is any of these teams, like I said, the Angels, the Rangers, the Angels also could be one of these teams that could dump and be a catcher. That might be someone just to pounce on. It wouldn't cost us any players. It would just simply cost us money. And you don't have to pay him for that 1 month. And that could be the backup catcher or maybe even the full-time catcher as opposed to Sanger. So just keep an eye on those teams that might just push a bunch of guys through waivers.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I forget about the playoff rules and when the rosters expand and all that crazy stuff. It's funny too. The Luis Torrens, he had the Nito run. Like we were like, oh my god, this guy is like the greatest. We stole him from the Yankees, and then he came crashing down to earth when you're
he's
back.
Very good defensive catcher. He's very good.
He plays a good role, and if the offense is hitting, it's kind of like with Tyrone Taylor. I hate that the offense made Tyrone Taylor the like ire of Mets fans because that glove is so good in center. I could live with the bat being absolute shit, but it's just when no one's hitting, you need to have a guy. You can't have an automatic out in a lineup like that. So.
Of course, he comes up with the bases loaded last night in a one-run ball game and like rounds out. Like that's just the way baseball works.
The baseball.
It is sad though because it's like the bottom of the lineup then becomes an automatic out. Like between those two guys, he's hitting 200, and Sanger, you don't even. I don't even consider him. I was like, oh, what's Nito doing? Like he's stuck in the Tigers minor league. I'm like, oh, we can't even get our guy back. So it's like, what are you gonna do? And Kevin Parada,
is he repopulating Binghamton? Is that currently his?
He's 250. He's a first round number 11 overall, and he was supposed to be fast tracked over even Alvarez, and it's just like has not worked out. So they're not calling him up, and no one's even mentioning his name. I don't think that project is going to pan out for us. So.
Yeah, first round college catcher, not even being mentioned.
Out of Catchers University too.
Bless you, Clemer. How Clemer, since it was the old pick, how has Kumar Rocker been for the Rangers lately? I know he started out, he got sent down. Has he been better?
He hasn't been. Jack Leiter has actually been a little better. The problem with both these guys, especially Leiter, is just so inconsistent. When the Leiter is good, he's great. I'm looking at Rocker right now. Last time I checked, he was not doing very well. It's certainly not. I don't think Kumar Rocker, career area 545, 574 this year, 17 starts. I mean, he's 25. I don't think he's someone we're going to be like, no, why didn't we get Kumar? Like, he's not going to be keeping Mets fans. I say that, watch, he's going to go off a Greg Maddux type run. But I don't think Kumar Rocker is someone we need to be really thinking about anymore, honestly.
Yeah, whenever Parada comes up, and now you get tagged. He had a cool name. He was on a cool team, that Vandy team, and obviously the Mets signed him, the Mets drafted him, didn't sign him, all that kind of stuff. And he's kind of just been like, occasionally I'll get tagged, and I'm like, I'm not going to lose sleep about Kumar Rocker, and then he gets sent down. So actually, his last 4 starts, 4 1/3, 6 earned, 6 1/3, 1 hit, 0 earned, 4 innings, 3 earned, 4 2/3, 3 earned, with about 90 pitches every start. I mean, that's a 2025 Met if I've ever seen one. Yeah, he's fitting perfectly here.
Well, no, it's not because he went 6 innings once.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's why the Mets didn't sign him. So, Kevin Parada, that's just been a disappointment. But I was saying the same thing, Kyle. I'm like, Nito would always have that first 2 weeks when he's fresh and he'd be hitting. And you're like, oh, why is this guy the starter? And then he, bat 105 and you're like, shit. So
I will say, honestly, Kyle makes a great point. If you have him and Tyrone Taylor in the lineup together, that's a problem because both guys just can't hit. But Louis Torrens is a exceptional backup. He's a one-war player. He only played half the season, so he is a ideal backup catcher. We could be in a lot worse shape, but like Kyle said, once again, it does kind of play into a great weakness we have, which is that bottom of the lineup now is just it's it's almost like back in the National League days when we were or no DH.
Yep.
That 8-9.
And then you have the Mets giving updates on Jose Siri down in the minors, and it's like, is that what we're hanging our hopes on? Is Jose Siri coming up so we can get an extra bat? Like, what are we talking about? I forgot he was on the team.
Jesse Winker and said he's not doing much, and I was like, oh man, that was tough. Like, he's taking pictures every time a home run is hit. That's about all I'm getting out of Winker, which I guess he had the vibes out of the guy.
Well, that's what happened. We also just never got a DH. Like, and that's on Stearns too. And I'm not trying to bash Stearns here, but like there are some major issues with this roster. We could have got a DH at the trade deadline. We didn't do it, and we didn't really do it to start the season. We're going with Marte, who's every time he's out there, he waited for him to break. Yep. He also doesn't really have any power anymore. Like I like the guy a lot, and I root for him, and I obviously he's a Met, and I like him. He's doing the best he can, but he's just older, and we don't have a DH. That's a problem. It's a real issue. Like, we should have that. Why don't we have that guy that can go out and hit 25 home runs just on a drop of a hat to be that?
Well, Clemer, what's more of an issue is when the DH that we all wanted a few years ago plays for a rival team and hits home runs basically every single night. I'm talking about Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies, who, like, literally every Mets fan was like, get Schwarber, get Schwarber, get Schwarber. We didn't get Schwarber, and now he's hitting home runs every night. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to go watch a DH. I'm going to go to Game Time, and I am going to get myself some Mets-Phillies tickets. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially last minute. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down as it gets closer to showtime. So we have Phillies Mets here next week, Monday, August 25th. $15 gets you in section 501, row 15. And I'm telling you, Citi Field, as long as they don't go back to the darkness in Atlanta, which obviously could very much happen, almost certainly going to happen, some would say. The Mets fans are going to be absolutely rabid. The Phillies fans that go there are going to be nuts. It's going to be a little bit of September baseball in August, maybe even October baseball. So I was looking at the prices again, $15, section 501, row 15. You can put those savings back in your pocket and spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned Cracker Jack. So what are you waiting for? I'm going to buy my Phillies Mets tickets now with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BELIEVE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BELIEVE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. What time is it? Game time. How are you guys feeling with Mullins at the plate? When Mullins comes up, it's like it's better than Taylor, right? I do feel that. So that's good. He's not unescapable, though. I have to say that is bullshit. He's been escaped at least 3 times that I've watched, and I don't watch every inning of every game. I'm bouncing around. So if he's been escaped on 3 times when I'm watching, one when we were all together at the game, his first play he got escaped on. Yep. So it's a little like Alcatraz, a little overrated in terms of his escape percentage. So I'll give him that much. All right,
he's been bad with the Mets. I mean, he's been bad with us.
He has professional at bats, so like it's there and he will. But yeah, it hasn't been great.
I mean, like it's early still. I mean, it's tough to. I mean, he's
new city, getting reacclimated to a team.
He hasn't even played 20 games.
He's just not comfortable.
But he hasn't been good. Like, he's been bad. Actually, he hasn't. Not only has he not been good, he's been bad. But it's been 20 games. So
how is he? Let me see his with the Mets, 573 OPS, 196 average, 1 home run. I mean, it's nice that he has a little bit of power because it's like Tyrone Taylor, it's probably not going over the fence with him for the most part. But they're both fast, both have the glove, whatever. I'm not going to lose my mind over the 9-hitter or 8-hitter. Now it's like those guys are moving up the lineups now that we've lost Alvarez again and we have Torrens and Sanger at the bottom. But that was a lot of the bad stuff. The good stuff. First up, Nolan McLean is fucking awesome. I will never forgive that motherfucker Joe DeMayo for keeping his dirty little hands on him in AAA while we were dying for a pitcher up there. Wiffle balls, everything you saw on the Twitter highlights of him, he did in the big leagues, had the behind the back stab, that was like the perfect debut that you get every so often that has you dreaming of the biggest things for the best players. It was perfect. A little too good to be true. I'm waiting for the bounce back to come. But Clemer, where he takeaways on our Cowboy Ohtani, as Joe called him, which is a great nickname.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not love what you saw? I saw some stuff. His spin rate is already like among, if not the best in baseball, the best in baseball. So he's throwing kind of unique pitches that people aren't seeing every day. That's going to keep batters confused. I love that. I loved his poise on the mound. I loved everything I saw. There was nothing I didn't like, and it got me excited. And it's exactly what we needed as a fan base. Exactly what this team needs. Just a little new blood. And the question now, honestly, is less about McClain and more about like, all right, so now what do we do with like Sprout? Like, what do we do with that? Because here's the issue, and I know a lot of Mets fans are frustrated. I'm frustrated. Like, if you bring them up, you got to send someone down or cut them.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people impulsively want to cut Montas. So like, all right, let's go. Let's bring Sprout up. Let's cut Montas. Okay, but you do owe him $17 million next year, and like, you just want to like burn that money. I don't know. You wait 2 weeks, or now you wait 10 days, and the roster does expand by 2. You could just bring up there and not cut anybody. But you could also send Reed Garrett down as options. Those are probably the 3 things you could do.
So Reed Garrett has options, because I was wondering if anyone had an option that we could.
I believe Reed Garrett has options.
Okay.
That's a temporary fix. You're saying to do that now and then bring him back up when the rosters expand?
So, right. You could send Garrett down for 10 days or until September 1. Then September 1, their rosters expand by 2. You can bring him up. They're probably going to bring Acuna up, would be the other guy they bring up.
That makes sense.
With like maybe a dark horse being like Brazaban, maybe like, but he's been actually, I think that's what they're going to do. Bring up Acuna and Sprout, or Acuna and Garrett if they send Garrett down, which they're not going to do.
And as Dominic said in the chat, the other one is Stanek on the cut list here.
But if you can't send Stanek down. So if you get rid of Stanek, he's just gone forever.
He's gone. Yep, he's gone forever.
Which, whatever. I understand, but he's just
a 1 year, I just looked it up. 1 year, $4.5 million contract. If you're gonna bring up Brazaban anyway, Stanek's kind of gonna be like the mop up guy the way that things are going for him as is.
I don't think they're gonna bring up Brazaban though. I think they're gonna leave him in the minors, unfortunately for him, because of Sprout.
You think I don't even know how he's been pitching. I know they were, I wonder how well they've worked in terms of stretching him out. That was the whole plan. At least they said, which we should have known that was the end of the Budo days when they were stretching out Brazaban, right? Yeah. Kyle, do you have a take on any of that stuff? Or like, I don't think Sprout's not going to start a playoff game. So it's not like we're worried about, getting him in the playoffs, but it's a matter of getting into the playoffs and having him start instead of maybe if Clay Holmes is going to give you 3 innings, like I said last week, give me them in the bullpen instead of them as a starter.
I think you have to hope that the youth is like going to contribute to whatever this run ends up becoming. So Nolan McClain already came up, had a good start. I think you have to at least try with Sprout because it's like there's no other option. I was joking. I'm like, if R.A. Dickey looks good in the alumni game, sign him up. Like he's throwing knuckleballs. It doesn't matter for the velocity. If he looks good, bring him up. That's where we're at. So like we need somebody new to come in and do something. Where else are you going to go? There's nobody else. We've tried everything. That is where like you run out of patience. It's like we've tried everybody. We've thrown, I think we're 2 pitchers away from the most pitchers used ever in a season in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. I think the Marlins maybe last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, we're probably gonna hit that realistically. So if you've exhausted all options. There's nobody else left to go. You've got Sprout down there. He's done everything you've asked of him up until this point. The only other thing to do is to call him up to the show. What are we doing?
McClain pitching so well. Maybe you think Sprout is even closer. Like what? Mm-hmm. The fact that like they have like similar, they both have had success in AAA the last couple months. Like, all right, if this guy works, why wouldn't this other guy also work? I don't get it. I think they should bring him up. If it was me, if I was in charge, I would send Garrett down for 10 days, whatever. Bring up Sprout, and then just bring Garrett back up. Like I don't know why they don't do that.
It could very well be that the book isn't out on these guys yet. We could use that to our advantage. Mm-hmm. Pick up the wins that we need to get now to give us some distance. And then when they start to falter, then go back to what we've been doing. But in the meantime, you need to make up some sort of ground and get away from these other teams that are in this race.
Speaking of DFAing guys and cutting them, RIP to Paul Blackburn, get the fuck off my baseball team. It's the fuck off our baseball team. Shout out for the leaky spine. That was like such a reminiscent of the Wilpons Mets, like a ridiculous injury, up there with anal fissures, Desert Valley fever, Valley fever.
Like Davis in the Desert Valley. It never went away either.
It never went away. It just killed a career of like the brightest spot that came out of nowhere that I've ever seen in my life. It's truly remarkable. So Blackburn getting cut was like, honestly, I hate to say it, gave me a little bit of dopamine. I shouldn't do that about another man's job. But it was like, get this guy out of my life is better. The opposite of dopamine, Mike Rourke says Brazoban has been bad in AAA. And
So
Mike Lombardi says Acuna was
say,
taken out of the game after colliding with the first baseman. So
that's
good times in AAA right now.
Brazoban did pitch really well yesterday. I think he pitched like 2 scoreless innings. But his point is still valid. Brazoban has been bad in AAA. I didn't know about Acuna. That's not good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Put that as a quote card. I don't know, Chris Clemer. The thing about Acuna too, it's like he can break both arms as long as he can run. Is all that matters with him for them. I mean, fielding too, obviously, but I don't give a shit about his batting. I need him to be able to run and to maybe be a late inning defensive replacement instead of Jeff McNeil at second.
Who's been mashing?
Yeah, who's been mashing. To McNeil's another guy. Like if he had been what he was that one season when he just bottomed out, or the first half of last year, we'd be really fucked right now because he's kind of been the light for some of the dark days. All right, so then we'll keep the good juju flowing in AAA. We'll try to get rid of all the bad stuff that's apparently happening there with some of our major league guys. Kyle, our prospects, the new prospect list, was it ESPN's top prospects?
Yes.
Okay. What are we looking at right now for the latest power? Because again, I'm a prospect list guy. You tell me this guy's good, I'm going to think he's great. If you tell me he sucks, I'm going to think he's trash. You can trade him for whatever. The reason we all were mad about the Drew Gilbert trade is because he was in our lives for all that time. And then, actually, I did see his first home run the other day. So congrats to Drew Gilbert for that. He's batting like 100 right now for the Giants, though, last I checked.
The Mets have six prospects in the top 100 list and 4 in the top 27. So you got 18 Jet Williams, 19 Nolan McLean, 21 Jonah Tong, 27 Carson Benj.
I think it's Benj.
74 AJ Ewing and 83 Brandon Sproat. That's the other thing. When you're so high for so long, which he was, the older you get, you just naturally are going to drop down. So that's not necessarily based on his like numbers and whatnot. It's just that he's been toiling away in the minors for longer than some of these other guys, and therefore he's going to be lower. So that's not necessarily that he's not doing well. He can come up and be very successful. It's just he's 83. And then on the outside looking in is Jacob Raymer, who just missed the list.
He's the third baseman, right?
One thing about that's weird is almost all of those guys are AAA. So
they all just got promoted.
But usually you have like prospect list, you have like guys, rookie league, single A, all of our top prospects basically are all in AAA. And that is both a good and oddly like a bad thing. Because like it just creates like this weird glut, like Kyle was saying, where guys can just toil there. So I really expect that we're going to see multiple trades this offseason. And I just think we have between the glut of Mauricio, Beatty, Vientos, and then this weird glut in the minors of all these AAA guys that kind of have nowhere to go. I think that you are going to see 1 or 2 massive trades this offseason. That's just a guess, but
I kind of smell your cooking, Clemer. And like you said, the pitching market, the free agent market isn't there. So if you're going to want to get a pitcher, a veteran, you're going to have to make a trade. And then you're going to have to just be able to, there are spots that have major league players in them, but can be upgraded across the diamond. So that's a good point. I will say this. So the only thing about those guys, that top 4, so it's Jet, Nolan, Jonah, and Carson. That sounds like a fucking bunch of Brewers there. David Stearns has a type, and I know probably some of these guys weren't drafted by him, but like just little, like not funky names, not different names, but just a little different than your typical Chris's, right, and Kyle's and Justin's. They're just a little odd out there. So
I think most weren't drafted by him, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I saw the other day, Epler had some fucking hits on his resume. He was not a very good GM in terms of some of the trades and signings, but I believe his draft has been pretty fucking good so far. Also, by the way, Dominic here, Brazoban said he got absolutely crushed in one appearance with 7 earned runs, but other than that, he's been pretty good. So I didn't trust Brazoban when he had like a .67 ERA. I'm just not going to trust him for the rest of his career. I just can't. It's just he has that kind of vibe about him where if he's lost, you're fucked. If he's good, He's good, but like I trust other guys a lot more than him. So I personally, if he wants to be the long guy, be the long guy. I don't care about that. Benj, I will say this. I was always thinking Jet was the guy who was going to be made the center fielder, this and that. We were talking on the chain, the group chat, and Meek was like, Benj is the future center fielder. He's the guy there. And I guess his performance would lead you to believe he's on his way up. He can hit. And I guess I didn't know if he'd be able to play center field as well, but I guess he's doing well enough playing center. So
sometimes they bury those guys in the corners to save them, their legs, everything like that. You're not running as much, and Jet's probably faster.
He has to be. His name is Jet.
It's a good problem to have. Right now we have no center fielder, so if we have two center fielders, that's a good problem to have.
For sure. And again, second base is going to open up soon, and the way the infields work. So I feel like we have a lot of those guys that can play that whole middle of the diamond. Hopefully shortstop is taken care of for a very long time by a healthy Francisco Lindor. We're going to dive into some general baseball talk, and that is going to be brought to you by DraftKings. The dog days of summer means it's time for the boys of summer to kick it into gear, and the best way to cash in your baseball IQ is with DraftKings Sportsbook. As the stretch drive begins, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with live betting, home run, props, odd boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? It's simple. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. I love that line of copy so much. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. You could ride with our boy Clemer when he makes his picks every single day. You could fade him. You could do whatever the heck you want, or you can roll it into football once that begins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers. You get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. So one of the things that was one of the big, I guess, stories that came out of that Little League game on Sunday night was the evil Rob Manfred being on the broadcast and casually mentioned how there could be expansion coming for Major League Baseball along with realignment. And we could talk expansion. We could, put a pin in that and maybe talk about it later. But the realignment thing was the thing that kind of caught a lot of our attention. I think a lot of people's attention, because it would be basically killing the leagues, and you're going to have something more like, I guess, football, NBA, where it's like you have the East, we would get rid of, we basically, all of us in the Northeast would be together, Phillies, Mets, Yankees, Orioles,
Red Sox.
Red Sox, yes. So did they exactly lay out or I guess a lot of people took stabs at it, but he basically said it could happen. If he says it could happen, it's going to happen. It's a money thing because everything in baseball is a money thing. Clemer, as the elder statesman on this pod, which, listen, I'm usually the elder statesman, I give the ground to you because I feel like this is right in your wheelhouse. What are your thoughts on realignment, other than Mets and Yankees fans might actually have a real-life civil war in New York at some point if we become division rivals?
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts here, and I do love this stuff. This is like heroin to me. So the expansion, I know you put a pin in expansion, but expansion really is the catalyst of all this. So
okay.
I'm hearing more and more that it's going to be, so Nashville, I think, is almost definite. They have minority ownership, and I know baseball wants to have a team with minority ownership. And they also have really good structure on there, both with businesses and with kind of a layout. They have a really good plan. Nashville, I think, is almost a certainty, I think. The other team would probably be like, maybe I keep hearing Salt Lake City, the success they're having with hockey. And they seem like they also could be. There's just a lot of talk right now about Salt Lake City. So let's say those two teams get it, just for the sake of argument. Nashville and Salt Lake City. Okay. So Manfred is saying, all right, now we have 2 leagues of 16 teams, no matter how you shake it out, right? And that would be 4 divisions of 4 teams each. That's what they've always wanted. They've wanted to do this for many, 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 many years. They want to have 4 divisions of 4, just like football. Okay. So Manfred was saying on this telecast that what he wants is, especially for the playoffs, is that, let's say the Mets had to play the Padres, which had to happen. Remember a couple years ago we played the Padres?
Yeah.
And some of those games are at like 10 o'clock at night because you're doing it for the San Diego audience. He wants to scrap that. He wants the playoffs, especially, to all be in the same time period, just like in the NBA. So how you do that is kind of like what you said. You'd have like the American League might as well be like the Eastern Conference, and like the National League might be like the Western Conference. And if you do 4 team divisions, you would have Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, and Phillies all in the same division. Now, that comes with a whole sort of problems. First off, it makes our path much more difficult because we're only playing against heavy market teams. It makes a team, let's say the other one is, I don't know, like I'm just speculating, like the Guardians, Pirates, Reds. That division would be not that tough, right? Because it's all small market teams. Of Tigers maybe are in that. Like that's like not like a murderer's row like ours would be. Jason Stark had a really interesting article this morning that I was reading that was saying not only would all of this realignment stuff happen, they're talking about shortening the season down 156 or 154 games, which I don't, as a historian, I don't have a problem with because baseball played 154 games until 1961 when guess what? It was expansion was the reason they expanded the schedule. Now, ironically enough, expansion could be the reason they decreased the schedule. So there's a lot of moving parts with all of this. I do believe very strongly that you will see expansion be announced before the end of the decade. Now, does that mean the teams will have a team in Salt Lake City in 2029? No. If you look back when the Marlins and Rockies made it, and especially back when the Diamondbacks and Rays were in '98, teams were announced in '95. So you almost like a 3-year window. You have to build up a farm system. Think about all the work you have to do. You have to you're drafting a year before your team ever even takes the field. So the Diamondbacks had a draft pick in 1997, I believe. They didn't even play baseball until '98. So there's a lot of things you need to do to build up a baseball team. It's different than like a football team where it's almost like the draft and you have your team. It's different. Baseball takes years to develop, guys. So you have a lot of moving parts here, a lot of stuff to keep focus on. But like you said, Clem, if Manfred said it, it's serious. Now, anything they propose, they have to get the players' union to sign off on it. And this is the biggest domino of all of this, is that we're headed for a strike or a lockout, in 2027. The sides don't get along. It's very bad. The owners are demanding a salary cap. This is exactly why the 94 strike happened. This is bad. This is very, 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 very bad. Bad for all of us. Bad, bad, bad. But why did the 1998 expansion happen? Why would they expand so quickly after 94 or 93, because of the strike? All these owners lost revenue. And when expansion teams come in, they pay to join the party. So the owners will need that revenue to recoup what they lost. So I think it's almost a guarantee you see expansion announced in 2028, 2029, because they're going to need to recoup the money they lost in 27.
We have the strike coming. Clemer just guaranteed a strike, expansion, realignment, and it's all one just shit sandwich in the end. And Clemer, we'll get into the realignment stuff as well. You were on the record saying you've always dreamed of basically becoming a fan of an expansion team and then just following them around for an entire season, and you would drop the New York Metropolitans Baseball Club as your favorite team. Is that still your case here?
My dream in life has been to follow a team from day one, be there at the ground floor. It's something I've dreamt about since I was a kid. I love expansion. I love it. I love it. I love it. I go crazy for it. I watched the 93 expansion draft. I watched the 97 expansion draft.
God.
And I would have jumped in with those teams back then even. But because I was so young, it was like I couldn't have moved. I was just getting out. I just graduated high school. And then the other one, I was still in junior high. But I had little notebooks. The expansion draft is one of the craziest, coolest things ever. Each team protects 16 guys. And then you can pick from the rest. So think about it as a Mets fan. Go through the roster. Which 16 guys do you protect? And then who's available? It's such a wild, cool thing. I love it. I love it. I go crazy for expansion. And yeah, my dream in life, my ultimate dream. I don't know if it's possible because life stuff happens, everything else. And now I have this job, so it definitely would change things. Who knows if I'll still be here in 2029, but regardless. My dream would be to go and watch every game, home and road, and follow a team for their entire first season and see every single moment. You would see every initial moment of that franchise. And that would be, to me as a baseball fan, the ultimate dream.
Does Mrs. Clemer know? I imagine she knows of the dream. If I know about this dream, has she signed off on this dream? Because she is a very nice lady. I've met her a few times.
Yes. She understands the dream.
She does comprehend it. Whether she signs off on it is another question.
She has agreed that if our life allowed us to do so at that time, she would be okay with it. Now, I'll say if it was Nashville or Salt Lake City, it would be easy choice for us, Nashville, because we went to Salt Lake City right after Barstool Idol. I was in Salt Lake City. When I did the thing with Dave, that I did Dave Portnoy show right after Idol, I was in Salt Lake City. My wife had a business trip. I just tagged along. I'm like, all right, I'll go to Salt Lake City. We didn't really like the city that much. So I think I would just be a fan of the Nashville. I think they'd be called the Nashville Stars, by the way. And I think I would
sound. I guess they can't because the other
no, the sound of the Stars would also be a hat tip to the Negro League team they had there back, and they even have like a logo already, and they're calling themselves. So I think it would be the Stars. So I think I would be a fan of the Stars.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, I would hate to lose you as a Mets fan. I mean, this is like a dream. It's like the way you just described it, I couldn't even be mad at you. In fact, it would almost be like when someone gets out of prison. It's like you got transferred to a new prison or you got just released. I'd be like, man, good for Clemer. Yeah. Like, hopefully we get one and he gets one.
I would be going to watch a team that's going to lose like 102 games.
Yeah, that's true.
And Hub said the second that happens, he would put a huge future on the Mets.
Yeah. I mean, if you could take KFC with you, because I blame him for all the mushes that happened to us. I mean, he canceled last year, and we had like the most magical season of all time. So that is very cool. I was bummed because I don't think Salt Lake City. They're just such forgettable teams. Utah. I hate that they haven't given the Jazz name back to the New Orleans. I was hoping for Portland because I think they have a cool setup based on what I was watching on YouTube, and I think we're all very romantic, at least us olds, about the Expos. Can Montreal actually sustain a team is the question, though, right? I
believe they can very, very easily. The media markets have changed. Remember, the Expos left Montreal at the end of 2004 season. The internet wasn't like you couldn't stream games. Like the whole world, the whole landscape has changed. And Montreal, I believe, is the biggest media market or one of that doesn't have a team currently. So, like, you could easily make a case that it would work in Montreal. And I will say this, I'm speculating Salt Lake City, I'm speculating Nashville. There's almost always surprises in this thing. What happens is how it's happened in the past is they'll announce a list of like 16 cities, and those cities will make the pitch, kind of like the Olympics. And then they whittle it down to say like 6, and then they'll whittle it down again to the 2. So
I always see people mentioning Mexico City, and I always laugh. I'm like, nobody wants to go live half their season in Mexico. I'm sorry. Like there's just too many issues going on there at the moment. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be a wealthy millionaire in Mexico for half your season and they're going to force you to live there. Like that's kind of crazy.
They've talked about, and like other things too, like elevation, like a lot of Mexico is very high up. Like that would also have like a Coors Field type effect there. There's a lot of reasons why that also economically, it's just, unfortunately Mexico sometimes it's just very volatile. Yep. Economically, so like it's hard to put it. Even think about the issues we have even with the Canadian exchange rate. I believe the Mexican one is even more volatile. So there's a lot, right? There's a lot of reasons. Portland comes up a lot though, Clem. But that's been coming up my entire life. I feel like for an expansion, they just never get it. So no, a lot of cities will throw their hat. I know another one too is like Charlotte. Like a lot of people think like the Carolinas are kind of the future, but I don't think so. If you'll go back and look at expansion, 93, what was it? It was Florida and Denver, Miami and Denver. 98, it was Phoenix and it was Tampa. Even 77, right? It was Seattle and Toronto. It's always like East and West. So I don't think they would put Charlotte and Nashville together. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I guess the breakdown that they'd have too if they wanted to go East versus West, how because I know in the NBA, for example, if they do have expansion to get to 32, which would again be the 4s, I think, the divisions, they would have to move a team to the East because there would be too many teams. I think Minnesota, there's a couple teams that are right on the cusp there. So Clemer, if you had your choice, Nashville would be number 1 on the list?
Yeah.
I'll be pulling for Nashville then. I'm pulling for Nashville if it means we lose you. Hopefully we get a World Series with you. You'd still come on the pod, give us your Nashville Stars update. That would be a lot of fun. And it sounds like, have we heard anything with the Rays sale? Is that, or are they going to go to Orlando, Jacksonville? Is the guy hoping to keep them in Tampa? Have we heard anything new on that?
I keep the stuff that I've heard is it sounds like it's going to be Tampa, but Orlando is making a real push. Orlando is also making a push to get an expansion team, which just isn't going to happen. But Orlando is making a real push for baseball. So I until that stadium is actually like we break ground, I think you could say the Rays could go anywhere. And I believe they stay in Florida, but you never know the money. But the guy that bought them is a Floridian, so. I think they're going to stay in Florida, but until they break ground, Orlando's a possibility.
That's actually true. I mean, remember the whole thing with they were going to spend half the time in Tampa, half in Montreal? That was a wild plan. If it had been bought by someone who was, a Canadian or not a Floridian, you could have seen the case that maybe something crazy happens where he does take the team somewhere else. But that is in this mix as well with the expansion and realignment. Kyle, what are your thoughts on realignment of having potentially, like I said, it's a bunch of major market teams, and let's call a spade, a bunch of assholes essentially in terms of the fan bases. That would be Mets, Phillies, Yankees, Red Sox.
Yes,
in a division.
So, and Armand put it in the chat too. There's two trains of thoughts. One is that they're just going to do it completely geographically, and then the other, which the Athletic had a mock-up on, is that they're going to continue to operate with the American and the National Leagues as is, with I think it's Colorado and the Rays flip-flopping. And then you're going to have those teams. So it would be the Mets, the Phillies, the Pirates, and the Nationals in one league, and then Toronto, Yankees, Boston, and some other teams escaping me in the other league. So if that were the case, I would totally be fine with it. I think that to maintain the National American League, like we had the same discussion with the DH, right? Like people are so committed for whatever reason to the league. Like they want to maintain that they're the National League, they're the American League. If they decide to blow it up, which I do think is Rob Manfred's like goal, they're going to have to lock out in 2027. I don't think they're going to get them to agree to the salary cap. So what do? They punt it down the field and they make these leagues of the haves and the have-nots in the division, where you have one division who's stacked and they have all the money, and some of these other divisions that are just thrown by the wayside, and they're not going to be having the same type of viewership because they're not playing these bigger teams and that sort of thing. Then down the road, they can continue to have the discussion of, listen, we need to implement this because now it's a disaster that they're having so many competitive teams playing each other in the same division, eating up all of the viewership versus these other teams. I think that that's how they kind of weaseled their way into it. I don't want a world where the Mets, Yankees, Boston, and Phillies are all in the same one because it makes the divisions irrelevant. If they do that, then they go to the NBA scale for the postseason, which is they're just going by overall record. And
well, no, I don't think that would be the case though. Divisions would matter. You get a bonus for first place. You would get like a bye in the first round,
right? But the seeding and the wild card and everything else is like you could have the teams 1 through 3 in the Mets because they're playing everybody an equal amount of times. I think it's 13 games they play, so you're going to have one division that has teams seeded like in the top 5 if they're going by overall record.
Yeah.
If the teams are good and they have the money and these other teams don't have as much money and they end up with better records, right. Like if you're stacking them together, they're all going to be – it's going to be top heavy in the new East or whatever you want to call it.
But I guess the negative would be we'll all be playing each other, so we might cannibalize each other.
Right, but even so, it's like, well, you made the playoffs.
Maybe.
I think that's how they get the salary cap weaseled in, though. It's like, oh, we can't continue to do this where all these teams are just in the top.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, I'm older than you boys. I don't think in my lifetime I'm going to see a salary cap.
I agree. No, I don't want it to be.
Yeah, we better not. Now that we have an owner that will spend whatever, it would be very Metsian. That like, the only reason I think it could happen is because that would be very Metsian. Like Cohen gets his casino built, he is the richest man in the world, and there's a salary cap in the sport he owns. Yeah, of course, that's what makes it feel like it could happen. First thing I thought of when I saw this, actually, I didn't even think about the New York streets running red with blood because of all the Yankees and Mets hatred. I was thinking it would bum me out, like if the American League and National League just ceased to exist. And again, this started with the DH. Once the DH got killed, it basically put it on a fast track for this to happen. Then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, at the same time, it's like, oh, all these rivalries. It's like, as long as the Yankees and Red Sox you kind of keep like the big rivalries together. I saw one proposal where the Dodgers and Giants were separate. I didn't love that. But I do think it made sense in terms of geography and stuff like that. I don't love
new rivalries develop, like Dodgers.
Yeah, 100%.
Like in the same city, like
Dodgers Padres is fucking nasty rivalry right now, right?
But like I said, like imagine Nats and Orioles in the same division. Like those, you would have like new rivalries would develop. As a purist, I don't love it. I will say though, the one that Kyle was kind of referring to was just thrown out there by and it's a good piece by the Athletic. But that wasn't based on any intel. Like Manfred.
No, I'm just saying I like that idea much more.
But I just when you have the commissioner of baseball saying we're trying to do this to make more money because it's
crazy
better
to me
ratings
it's like all of the major metropolitan teams and then just have them in the same division together. Like because that as much as it is like you're going to Middle America, like those teams want to see the Yankees coming to town. They want to see the Mets coming to town. And I get that the scheduling is now going to allow that they're playing them an equal amount of times and everything. But it's the division. We've already lost so much juice in our own divisions, and it's because of that they're forcing this issue. Like, I hate that we don't play the Braves and the Phillies and everybody more games. Like, it's so annoying to me that we start off the season playing one team and then we don't see them again until the end of the season.
He's bastardizing. I do like playing everybody though. Like, as a fan, I just like seeing different teams come to Citi Field. But I understand you do lose something from the rivalry when you go from 19 games to 13.
I think he's like Putin, where he's playing the chess pieces where he's like, if I do this, I know down the road that I can just get people to agree to this. Like, I already implemented the DH, so now the leagues don't matter. So now I'm going to change the schedule where everyone plays everyone the same amount of times. So now the divisions don't matter. It's no longer the game that we were watching.
And that's at some point,
it's annoying.
And I think the three of us are kind of more baseball purists than not. I didn't want to see the DH go. I didn't love the thought of the pitch clock. But you know what? Like, the pitch clock's kind of awesome. I kind of love not – I'm 18-inning games are cool when they're over. Like, man, I can't believe we made that. They suck when it's, 4 in the morning and you're just watching your team just,
It happens once a year. I hate the Ghost Runner.
You don't like the Ghost Runner?
I hate the Ghost Runner.
Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's definitely some people who don't like it. But like the realignment thing, at some point, it's like, you know what? There's like the next generation probably not even going to like baseball, so they have to do whatever they can to get those. Like, I'm watching my son who's pretty into it, but it's like they have an uphill battle just with all the other things that they have in terms of, let alone other sports, but other channels, devices, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. So
they've had a surprising uptick for whatever reason in recent years compared to other leagues. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know how AJ knows Babe Ruth? He knows him as the guy who pointed that they talk about in Sandlot. He goes, what's his name again? Like Babe Ruth and, all these legends. I mean, shit, we're at the point now where it's like Sammy Sosa is like this old relic in people's minds and stuff like that, and Mark McGwire. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I do think it's definitely happening. It's just a matter of when. Strike, realignment, expansion. Put it in the fucking books right there.
Yep.
So moving back to the Mets as we put this podcast in the books. Clemer, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you think will happen the rest of the way and what you think the magic number will be in terms of wins to get into the playoffs. Third wild card, essentially, I guess.
Magic number is probably like 88 or 89, somewhere in there. I think if you get 90, you're in. I think if you get 89, you're probably in good shape. What do I think is going to happen?
And hey, be honest with yourself, Clemer. This is a safe space.
I look at that schedule in September, and I just get very upset. I don't know if there's a way out. Now, having said that, though, we have talented players in this team. There are guys that can go on tears, Lindor or Alonso. There's guys I believe in. Maybe Sproat and McLean carry this team in September. It'd be kind of cool, right? These two young pitchers come out and just pitch lights out. Like, could that happen? Absolutely. We're not dead, but I don't know. I'd say like a 45% chance to make the playoffs. It's kind of where I am.
Okay. So I'm going to go. So just so let people know. So we have the Washington game, which, might already be done by the time people listen to this. Then we have it's at Atlanta versus Philly versus Miami, at Detroit, at Cincy, at Philly, versus Texas, versus San Diego, versus Washington, at Cubs, at Miami. So that is brutal. The Reds the rest of the way, they have at Arizona, at Dodgers, versus St. Louis, versus Toronto, versus Mets, at San Diego, at Athletics, at Cardinals, versus Cubs, versus Pirates, at Brewers. So they have
it's pretty tough for them
challenges as well. And yeah, as Michael Chung, the September 22 schedule was a cakewalk, infamously, right? And we were kind of like, oh, that A series is be gravy. Jacob deGrom in Oakland, nothing, no problem at all. That deGrom was the legit day where I said, oh shit, this might not be the season that I think it was going to end up being.
It's all going to come down to that the first 11 days in September, in my opinion. Like Detroit, which they have their own issues, especially offensively right now. They also lost their second best pitcher, Reese Olson's out for the year. So they have some issues, but they still have Scooble. They're still in first place. You get a day off. The 3 against the Reds, which could be everything. And then 4 in Philly. If they can survive that and get back home against the Rangers, who are scuffling right now, it might be kind of mailing in by that point, then maybe we'll be okay. But those 11 games 10 games are going to decide, I think, everything.
What are we right? I don't even know how much we're back of the 6.5 behind the Phillies. Jeez, that escalated quick.
Oh, that's done. I keep that like on Pick Central. Rico keeps saying, "Well, what if you did the Phillies?" I'm like, it's over, man. Like we're barely in the wild card. Like the Phillies are done. Don't look when you open your app or you go on extra innings, or I have extra innings. I'm old. I have cable. Whatever you go on to look at baseball, your first thing should be Mets. Your second thing should be Reds. The Phillies are Phillies. They're done. They already won.
When we were within 5, I could talk myself into it. 6.5, that 1.5 just makes it seem impossible to get to. And also, like, if you've watched any of the Phillies games the last couple weeks, there's they have the magic right now. They just have the juju, right? We had it. They had it a couple years ago. The Durant thing has really worked out great for them. Schwarber is just one of those dudes. Bryce is going to do Bryce shit as long as he's healthy. So it doesn't feel good. Kyle, what are your what's your magic number, and what are you? I guess I like the way Clemer did with the odds of getting into playoffs.
I was going to say 90 because I just think it's going to go right down to the wire.
Oh, 90 wins. I thought you meant 90%. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
No. No. I think they need to get to 90 wins for me to be like, they're making the playoffs.
That's fair.
I think it'll go right down to the wire. I think that people are going to want to come out to Barstool at the ballpark September 20th.
There you go.
Against the Nationals. They need to win this game today against the Nationals, but we need to make sure we are winning the games that should be in hand because everything else I don't think is stacked in our favor. It's going to help that we're playing the Reds if we can win. I think that all it takes is we've had this season of peaks and valleys. I think we are absolutely in the valley on our way back up. I think if you're going to do that, it's the perfect time for it. So they need to really, really stack up the wins the rest of this month heading into September. Then I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. But I think 90 is probably going to be the mark. 89, 90. You don't want to end up in a situation where then you're going to tiebreakers and stuff like that. I think 90 does it.
That's another reason why that Red series is so big for tiebreakers. Right now, we're on pace for 86 wins, and that would be enough to get in the playoffs, which seems crazy.
I think also someone said that the Reds haven't been swept yet this season.
That's crazy.
At all.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
They are like the 2022 of us, where it's like they're just consistently putting up W's.
Because they have Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, and Nick Lodolo has been really good for them. They have 3 legitimate pitchers that go out there and are borderline elite every single time around the order. It's hard to have a losing streak when that happens.
And my dumb baseball brain, again, this is just dumb baseball fan brain. I'm like, Francona doesn't let him get swept. He says the thing in the light. That's kind of what you believe. When a manager is that good, you do feel like he has power over shit like that. Even Buck, it's like he's not going to let us get on a slide here. Or Mendoza, it's like he's still young, he's still figuring it out. I'm with you. I'll go a little lower just because why not? I was thinking 89 or 90. I'll go 88. 88 gets us in. ESPN has this, and these things mean nothing to me. Fangraph was sucking our dick for years, and we never meant a thing. 82.9% playoff chance. I'm going to go 70% chance we make it. 88 wins is going to get whoever gets there will get in. I will watch the Al Leiter 1-game playoff for good juju against the Reds. That was a magical moment, which unfortunately can't happen anymore because they now go with tiebreakers. Clemer. Give me the plug your stuff here. Tell me what's coming on because the life of Clemer, the content stuff, you never know what's coming next with you. You always have new shit bubbling up. It's
always weird, niche, silly, stupid things. So a couple things. First off, tomorrow, so Friday, I'm going to be streaming from 10 to 5, Barstool Game Time. We took over the Rays. We moved them to Manhattan to play in the Polo Grounds, the Manhattan Empire. We're in year 2 of that. And we're going to try to win the World Series. We just got Aaron Judge, so let's go.
Aaron Judge is such a casual thing to say.
So there we go. I mean, that's pretty good, So I think we're looking pretty sharp there. So that'd be fun. If you like building baseball, so it's all collaborative. So I ask the chat and I make decisions together. So if you love team building and stuff like that, pop in. You can pop in, pop out. The chat's super. It's like a cool community. It's just good people. So come do that. And then then the week after that, I'm going around the country looking for purple hats for the Yak. So I'll be doing that. And the week after that, football's back, and I'll be streaming. I'll be taking over NFL team. I'm announcing that tomorrow, what team it's going to be, and I'll be being a GM there. So and then obviously Pick Central, and I go to the movies a lot.
Coming up on movie 100, I saw.
I am. I just saw. I think I just saw 93 with Nobody 2. I'm seeing Honey Don't today, Kyle.
You're living my dream. 100 movies. I have to, honey. It's content.
I see every movie that's in the theaters, 1,000 screens or more. So I go. So I do see all the movies I don't want to. I didn't want to see Freaky or Friday, believe me. But
Was the Ice Cube movie, was that War of the Worlds? Was it as bad as people say?
Yeah, so that was only on streaming. We did a watch along. A bunch of us though, like Fights, me, Ken Jack, a few of us did like a watch along. And it was, but it was a commercial. Like, it's not a real movie. Like, it was shot during COVID, so no one's ever in the same scene together. And like, literally, Amazon Prime literally saves the day. It's like, all right, like, what are we doing?
That's fucking crazy. I didn't realize that. That's bad. So yeah, check out all the Clemer reviews. Follow him on all the socials. Get all that stuff. Again, and for the people in the chat, sometimes people are like, you guys don't interact with chat enough. I think we do a good job, and sometimes I'll be honest, the chat window didn't load for me for a couple of months there because we were signed out. Clemer, like the chat, it's a chat show. Clemer is just the host of it. He is the vessel that you guys go through, and it is one of the most fun things. Again, I've had a ton of fun with all the other ones he's done as well.
I'm bringing basketball back in like February, but the fall is football, so it's gonna be all Madden taking over this team. And hopefully we can win a Super Bowl. But yeah, and then we'll bring football. We'll bring basketball. I know Clemo's the basketball. We'll bring basketball back in probably like February-ish.
Beautiful.
Remember when Madden had head coach? Remember when they tried that?
Yeah, he came out of the game. It was awesome. So I was fucking around with it at my house last night.
You were the demographic for that. It failed so miserably. What do you mean? You can't play?
It wasn't a good game, though, either. That's the problem. So I was fucking with Madden last night. I'm like, all right, how can I get it so I could do the head coach? I thought of this game last night. But they made it so you can't do that, even in the game. Like they want you to play, which I just want to coach and GM. That's all I want to do. I'm a simple man.
Joey Langone said, he goes, there's just something about watching this man manage a team that I just love. And listen, I'm a franchise guy. I couldn't sleep last night. I was playing my Madden franchise at 4 a.m. here just to try to get closer to sleep. So it's definitely a fun thing. And you kind of develop with the teams, like you said. Now you got Aaron Judge on the fucking on the Empire. Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
So whether you're an Empire fan, whether you're a Madden TBD fan, Nashville Stars fan, a Mets fan, at the end of the day, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.